Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Well, how glad am I to know that this is actually recording. And here we go from Council Bluffs, Iowa. Today is a travel day, so I am just a few minutes away from finishing packing and getting myself out to the rental car, driving the 15 minutes to Epley Airfield in Omaha, Nebraska, because Iowa and Nebraska are right next to each other, and Council Bluffs and Omaha are just minutes away from each other. So we zip back and forth from Iowa to Nebraska. And so I love that because I have come to faith for Nebraska and am learning what the Father is doing there. So glad that this is recording. The other day while I was here getting some extra work done, I attempted, I did record 7 devotional podcasts. And then when we uploaded them, there was nothing there. Here we go into a bit of frustration. Can anybody understand what I'm talking about? You do something, you think it's all done, you go to listen to it, and you're like, there's nothing there. You click, you open up, you close it, you open up again, still nothing there. And you think, I went 7 entire recordings, and there's nothing there. And then you say, okay. And I don't remember if I had to wait till later in the day or when it was, but I re-recorded all of those and then they were there. And I'm like, I don't know what that glitch is, but I'm awfully glad that glitch is not happening today. Because this is our here we go, and we do that while we are away from the NMM office, when we are traveling, whether it is stateside or international, because we always want you guys to know what is happening, where we're going, what we're doing here at NMM. So we closed out yesterday these few days that we've had in Nebraska, Iowa, because for us, everything moves at the speed of our obedience, our responsiveness, our trust in the Father, and it moves at the speed of people's responsiveness to Him and at the speed of relational connections. So that's 3 different ways that the pace of what we do unfolds. And unfold has become a very key word for us since, many months ago, which means 2 to 3 years ago, when God told me, do not overdefine things, stay with me, let it unfold as we go. And I believe that began for me probably end of 2023, opening months of 2024, when I began to hear Him making it clear that I was not to fill my calendar once I arrived home from Europe in July of 2024. And then that proved to be the case for the next 13 months. We pruned back to scale up, and I can definitely say to you that there is a scaling up, an expansion, an increase. And though, yes, of course, that happens in me, I would have to say that is more prominently happening in many of those key producers that we have had the privilege of walking with. And some of those are right here in Council Bluffs. But no matter where a person is at, I can see expansion coming. Maybe they've just heard the message at Cross Encounter, and the Father has shown them how much He has been working in them. And then he brought it all together at Cross Encounter. And they're ready to take those next steps. Maybe it's someone that I've been walking with for 7, 8, 9 years, maybe 10, 11 years. And they have been building, growing, expanding all that time. And now they're about to take next steps. They're about to go into a scaling up, first within themselves with the Father, and then following his leading in what it is that they're to do. And then everything in between. I woke up this morning, there were emails in my inbox letting me know that people had decided to register for Oxford. There were those that were saying, I was just with you at Cross Encounter, and I need to know what are the next steps, what's available. And I will schedule conversations with them because, again, we move at the speed of relational connections. We're not out trying to get someone to sign up for our program. We are watching carefully what the Father is speaking to people. What are they hearing from him? What is he telling them to do? We don't want to try to gather up everyone into ourselves and then somehow encourage them to not hear the Father, to not move at his timing. Because if we're not careful, you can attempt to catch people when they are, and I say this as a good kind of vulnerability, that's why you don't want to take advantage of it, is a good vulnerability means the Father has just cracked them open. They see things that they had not seen before. They have heard him in a way. They're ready to choose him. And you don't want to get too deep in the mix of what's happening between them and the Father. Now, if they sense that you're the person they're to connect with, that they're, let's say if I'm at a particular church or organization and they believe, this means this is the place where I'm to start connecting. That might be the next step. We want to be very sharp in the way that we move with people. Because as you've heard me say before, people don't belong to you. People don't belong to your ministry. People don't need to fear that you won't approve of something. People do not need your permission to do certain things. Now, relational connections, I would say, means that there's always a maturing in the communications that you have with people, because if they're actually maturing, then the way that you have conversations will change. They begin to learn that they don't need your permission, but it is mature to talk things through and to alert others that maybe you've been walking with to things that you're hearing. It's good to check those things out with trusted people that are in your life, but not for the point of control, because you're not going to mature if other people keep making decisions for you, or if you keep indulging a fear of man. If you begin to watch these things unfold, it is a part of the maturing process. So there's so much learning going on as we go. I am learning. I am watching myself stretch in certain things. I am listening at a different level. I'm hearing the Father help me assess what I need to leave behind, what remains, and what I welcome in. There are always opportunities to adapt to Him as you go. This is why we don't want to get too attached to any particular, aspect of the assignment. Allow Holy Spirit to keep your core attachment, your core connection is to the Father. So it's a part of the life of Christ in us that has all these paradoxical abilities, which is I will steward this faithfully, but I will hold it loosely because it doesn't belong to me. And yet when you grip something for years, you're like, yes, it does belong to me. No, it doesn't. Oh, that's right. That's right. And there's not a tug of war within you in the sense that you're trying to rip it out of God's hands, but it just takes a moment to let the life of Christ in you develop. Because humanly speaking, these paradoxical ways in the kingdom, that you can't do them. And because this is why sometimes we go, well, then fine. If it doesn't belong to me anymore, then fine, I'll just put it down. And it's like, hold on, right? Because you can feel the snapping and breaking of the human ability, which then is going to allow the emerging of Christ's ability, the grace, the actual ability to be able to still steward something faithfully without a crushing, fleshly ownership of it, is I hold it loosely. And those are more things that are happening deep within spirit to soul to body, is I will be guarding this work, but not for the point of control. Because eventually you might as well put a pillow over its face and snuff the life out of it and suffocate it. So if we do not continue to mature and lean into the Father and learn His ways by the development of His nature within you, this is why so many works eventually crash and burn. This is why so many sons who are stewarding the work can become control freaks, because you've guarded it for so long, and then it's time to begin to release it, and you find that your trigger instinct or reflex is to grip it. And so you have to watch that. You have to own that. You have to let the Father sometimes talk you in off the ledge of control so that you can stay in proper authority. Because who's going to just cast off something that you have nurtured and cultivated for years in obedience? You don't just turn around and abdicate the whole thing. You're releasing it, as the scripture says. I want to say it's in 2 Timothy, is release these things basically to faithful ones who will then take it, and you pray that if it leaves one and let's say goes to 10, it should go bigger, be more exponential, cover more ground, accomplish more for what the Father is after, and be better. Why would we not want it to be the highest quality once it leaves us? If we did what we were given to do, our portion of that relay race, if you will, why would we not want it to go to its greatest height? It's like raising your child to the age of, 18, and then not wanting them to do well in the next leg of their race. Isn't that why you raised them? Of course, there'll be a little bit of faltering and learning and, falling down, getting up, right? But you'll continue to move forward because you're not trusting people to be perfect or to do things perfectly, but you are learning to trust that the Father has put within them the next leg of the race. I don't trust others to do it perfectly. I tend to turn fairly quickly, not always quickly, but fairly quickly, to addressing myself. If I see a deficiency or where something needs to be shored up, pretty quickly I go, wait a minute, let me address, did I assume they knew something? Did I prematurely put something on them? Was I counting on potential, but yet there hasn't been real development? Am I cutting corners because I like the person so much? Ooh, this is where your loyalties come back to the Father, and you identify with Him in what He is doing. And so you back up and you say, wait just a minute, we need to give some real time to this. Let's talk about this. Why do you think that happened? If someone, let's say did a teaching, or they were learning how to release this message, rather than me give them a critique, I might first thing say, well, what was it like for you when you were teaching it? You know what God spoke to you. You know what you had intended to bring forward. What were your thoughts about it? So that it becomes more about how Holy Spirit may help them assess the truth. Did they, were they faithful to release what the Father wanted released to His people in that time? Not so much did whoever their mentor is or their trainer or whatever approve, or were they impressed, all of that. You don't want that to be the first thing. Although the mentor or the trainer, whoever it may be, their feedback is valuable, but it needs to be a part of the full, if you will, assessment, not the only thing. And so, when we are moving at the speed of our own responsiveness to the Father, to others' responsiveness to the Father as things unfold, and then at the speed of real relational connection. And so these are things that we're learning as we go. So now it's time for me to finish getting ready and to pack up and to roll those suitcases out, put them in the rental car, get myself to the airport, and oh, how glad I am to be headed to Texas. I'll land in Houston. I'm not sure exactly what time it will be. It's 11 something Central Standard Time today, if you're listening in real time. And then to drive home to Sealy, and then I believe I have the rest of the day for re-entry, because we hit the ground running tomorrow, because now we are in full and final prep for the opening month of Oxford in Texas, or USA in Texas, Europe, which will be in Poland, and the British Isles, which will be in Portsmouth, England. So there is much to do, much communication that we need to be getting out to folks, and we will. Many logistics, and I don't think I'm overstating, but I believe we have a total of about 70 to 75 folks across the nations. These are producers, and in all three groups, in all three locations, coming together, because, my friends, we are not yet ready for the masses. This is the deep preparation to go in deeper for ourselves on all levels, to be trained and equipped and prepared for the times in which we live, to live as debtors to all men. And yes, for there to be certain skills in discipling, mentoring, training, overseeing. There are so many levels and depths, and this is going to be a very intense, rich, strong 10 months that we're about to step into. And it's not exclusively the only thing that I'm doing, but it is the major focus of what I'm doing. I'll also be traveling in March to the Netherlands, and there will be cross encounters that are happening stateside, 1 in March, 3 in April. There is the potential we'll be back in Paraguay and potentially back in Austria. There are certain things that are penciled in because, again, we move at the speed of what the Father is doing and of relational connections, so we do not push. We are not here to push what we are doing. We are here to come alongside those apostolic, prophetic people and communities as international hubs are anchoring in to their assignments, as people are taking hold, and when sons begin to take responsibility for what goes on in their own skin and what the Father is showing them in their own territory, then we're there alongside to help build and to help pour in. And so then, July is all of Oxford, and I'm not sure yet about all of August and September and October. Then November will be all of Oxford. But remember, when I say February, July, and November is Oxford, that's the in-person gatherings. Oxford will be going on daily across the nations, across all the groups, online, Oxford online, throughout February, all the way through November. So it is an intensive time, a logistical time, a very deep, personal, inward time of real preparation. And that which we know of it, we are attempting to be good stewards of. And then there will be much that will spring up because it is the establishing of fresh, organic institutions of higher learning to mature sons for the hour in which we live. We're not yet ready for the masses, my friends. This is one of the things we talked about even at dinner last night with the folks that I'm here with, is that if you're a forerunner, part of our maturing is that we do not get ahead of God. You can feel it growing inside of you. You can see where the need is, and yet you're like, we're not there yet. That's right. But we are getting there. And if we're not careful, that it's not really impulsiveness, it's not really impatience. It's we need maturing to stay with the Father. It's for Him. Though the needs of the people are always present with us, the Father's timing. Because if you begin to be driven by your own calling, your own ambition, or the needs of people, it can catapult you out of the timing of the Father. And if you stay with the timing of the Father, it's always going to be, honestly, bigger and richer and stronger than it ever could have been when we got our own timelines mixed in there. So we have to stay with Him, and we watch carefully how He's moving. And so this is why this year of preparation is so important. And I'm not saying that people have missed it, but I just keep saying this because of course we can see the need. We need to get out. We need to be building. We need to do this. We need to do that. Yes, we do. But what the Father clearly stated to me was they are not yet ready, and I include myself in that. They are not yet ready for what I am about to do. My friends, we can do what we can do. What He is about to do, we are not yet ready. So I encourage you, wherever you are today, that you lean into Him, stay with Him. Yes, I do say it all the time because it's so true. It's our way of life. It's our privilege to abide, to stay, to remain. And I do encourage the mature communications, which is call, have conversations, talk, work out, process with those the Father has given you access to, given you relationship with. I said this over the last few days to some folks, and I don't mean it in a critical way. I think it really is just factual, that for so long, those who are the teachers are not accessible. You hear truth from someone. They tell you, here's what you need to do. Yet there is not an avenue of real connection to step into the actual truth you just heard. But with us at NMM, this is a part of how we move, is at the speed of real relational connection. I can't do anything about it if people don't believe us. And they say, well, I'm sure you're very busy. Well, yes, as a matter of fact, we are busy about the Father's works, having conversations, meeting many times a day, because that is a part of how this must move. So if you have recently connected with us, but you haven't yet reached out, do so. If you've been with us forever, and we've been with you, but you haven't reached out recently, reach out. These are very necessary nuances of real mature communications. Is simply ask if you need to know something. Get clarification. Talk things through. Be honest. Be forthright. Even if you are a bit apprehensive about the responses that you will get, the response of the other person is that person's responsibility. It's not yours to manage others. And this is why we always say that when you decide to live in the truth, to speak truly, Ephesians 4:15, speak truly, live truly, you're not in control of all the outcomes. You don't know how other people will respond or react, what decisions they will make. But that's not your responsibility. Yours is to follow His leading, learn to speak clearly. Just to throw this in here at the very end of this Here We Go episode is Hebrews 5:13 and 14. It says, when you're still on the milk like infants, unskilled in the doctrine of righteousness, you don't yet know how to talk. But for mature men who have been eating meat, then your faculties, your mental faculties, that's the soul, and your senses, that's the body, are being trained out of the Spirit as you mature. And this is a part of what we need. Even if it's me you're going to talk to, and maybe I don't like it, or maybe I haven't thought it through yet. But that doesn't make me right. That doesn't make you wrong. Right? It's about learning the relational dynamics that come as sons mature together and the body of Christ begins to move forward. If someone else is going to be agitated or irritated, or maybe truly needs to bring correction to you, whatever, then let that unfold. And we learn then how to walk through these new days, new depths. And I think this could prove to be very helpful in the days that we're stepping into. So I thank you so much for being with me on this Here We Go episode from Council Bluffs, Iowa, and I look forward to the days ahead. If there is anything that you need, let us know. You can email me at nancy@nancymccready.com. And I would love to be able to hear from you. I would greatly appreciate being able to clear up any confusion, answer questions, set appointments, even if it's to refer you to someone else that may be able to walk with you. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. So, until next time, I love you all.
For more information on Nancy, please visit nancymccready.com or follow her on social media at NBMcCready.